Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you a review of the new Dreamstreet collab between Kathleen Lights and ColourPop. I have the eyeshadow palette and the lip trio. So I'm going to be swatching everything and review it for you guys and also show you how I created this look using this collaboration. So if you guys are interested in hearing about the Dreamstreet collab between Kathleen Lights and ColourPop, then just keep on watching. Alright, so I'm going to start off with the Dreamstreet eyeshadow palette. This is a $16 palette and it comes with 12 shades. You get 6 matte shades, 5 shimmer metallic shades, and then 1 satin shade. I love the colors in here. They're like really warm, but you also get some like cool toned shades. And I've been super into like mixing cool tones and warm tones, especially shades like these bluish shades. Those are the kind of colorful shades I always gravitate towards, and also the silver shade. So this is like an ideal palette for me. I really like all the tones in here, and I also really like the packaging. It's still like that paper packaging where it's going to get dirty, but the outside has more of a sheen to it. So it's not going to get as dirty as like the Yes Please palette or the Holiday palette. I've had this for a few days and I've been swatching and testing out all the shades. So this is like as dirty as it's gotten. So it's still in pretty good shape. So I'm actually just going to go straight into swatches, let you guys know my thoughts about the formula of all the shades. I've applied them all on my eyes before, and then I'll get into this tutorial. So starting off, we have the shade Shooting Star. This is my favorite transition shade in the palette. It's just like a warm brown. It's not too orange, so you can wear it with some of the deeper bluish shades too. They're going to look really nice with like basically every shimmer shade, every shade in this palette. This shade goes with everything. It ties like the whole palette together. Then we have the shade Magical. This is like a peachy matte shade. It has a little bit of a brown hint to it. If the first shade is too dark for your complexion, you can definitely go in with this shade or layer them together. Next, we have this copper shade called Stardust. This is a gorgeous lid color. It's super metallic. If you apply it dry, it's going to go on very pigmented. It's very shimmery, but it doesn't have a lot of fallout to it. It's gorgeous. And then we have the shade Twinkle. This is what's on my eye. And Stardust and Twinkle are so similar. There's a difference between them, but if you do an eye look with either of these, you're not going to see like a huge difference. Twinkle has more of like a rose gold finish to it, and then Stardust has more of a copper finish. So this has more pink to it compared to Twinkle. So moving into the second row, we have this shade Sweet Dreams. It's like a champagne gold color. It has a little bit of a pink to it too, but it's mostly champagne. And this has more of a chunky finish to it. So when you start to blend it out, you're going to get a lot of fallout. When I've applied this onto my eyes, I really like to apply it wet. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the pigmentation I want. You guys can see how it's a bit more sheer compared to the other metallic shades. Next, we have this matte blue shade called Water Bear. This shade is so beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. Has a little bit of a green, like turquoisey shade in it too. It's not just like a true blue shade. And then we have like this terracotta color called Potion. It has a lot of orange to it, and I am wearing this in my crease today as well, just to make things a bit warmer. So I really like it. It's not like super orange. You can definitely blend it out, and it's not going to be like super intense color, but it's really going to warm up an eye look. Then Spark is a shade that is going to give you more color. This is like a reddish shade. It's a matte color. It's very vibrant, so that's something that's going to pop out more than the color on top of it. Moving into the last row, we have this shade Kaleidoscope. I love silver tones like this. It's so gorgeous. This one's a little chunkier as well. It's not as chunky as that champagne color, which was Sweet Dreams. It's not as chunky as this, but it's not as smooth as these two on top. These are like, go on like almost like a wet metallic look. This one I like to apply with Fix Plus 2, otherwise you're going to get more of a toned down shade. But for a really silver like metallic look, definitely wet this shade. Then this shade Elfish is this matte brown that has like this eggplant hint to it. It has like a purpley tone. It's warm, but it's also not so warm that you can't use it with a neutral or cool tone shade. So this pairs really nicely with the blue, pairs really nicely with everything. So any lid color that you use, you can deepen it up with this shade. That's what I did today. And it's not gonna add too much of like an orange or a purple hint to it. It's just really gonna keep the eye looks true to like the color you're going for, and then just deepen it up a bit. And then we have this one satin shade called Moony. It just has like a subtle sheen to it. It doesn't have shimmer to it. So it's a really pretty brow bone color. That's what I have on my brow bone today and also in my inner corner. And it basically blends into my skin tone. So this is perfect for me for a brow bone shade because it gives me a little bit of a subtle sheen without being too much shimmer. Then lastly, we have one of my favorite shades. This is called Mermaid Boy. This is like a turquoise that has so much pigment to it, and it has a little bit of like a purple undertone to it. The ColourPop Holiday palette also had a very similar shade to this, but that one had a bit more brown to it, and this one has a little bit more purple, and it's just like more of a true green shade. That's a gorgeous lid color. You guys know I love like teals. Anytime I'm doing a colorful look, I go to like greens and blues. So those are all the shades in the palette. They are all gorgeous. I love every shade. I'm going to use every shade in here. I have been. This is like a very ideal palette to me because it's just like right up my alley with all the tones. It's like my perfect color palette. This has all the colorful shades and all the neutral shades that I normally wear. So the color scheme in here is like spot on to me. And it is really pigmented. I just reviewed the holiday palette. I will link it above me. There were some shades in there that weren't as pigmented, but this one is way more consistent compared to that palette. This has like that same quality as a Yes Please palette and the I Think I Love You. It's just like just as pigmented, has that same consistent look to it. So all the shades are really pigmented. They all apply really nicely. They all apply really easily, especially the matte shades. They work so beautifully. And all the shimmer shades, the only one I don't have the best luck with is the shade Sweet Dreams. You can definitely use it, but it is chunkier, has some more fallout, so definitely apply it wet if you want like an all over lid color. But those are all the shades in the palette. I'm gonna go ahead into the tutorial so you guys can see how I created this eye look using just this palette. Alright, so my eyes are primed and I just set them with powder. I'm gonna start off with this light transition shade. This is called Shooting Star. It's like just a neutral brown. It's a little bit warm. It's one of my favorites in the palette. Applying this shade with a Sigma E40. I'm just applying that into my crease and then upwards as well because it is a little bit lighter, so I can carry it out pretty high. I don't need to be too precise with it. So this shade is really an ideal transition shade for my complexion, what I normally start like all my eye looks with, and it's like super quick and easy to build up. So this is like a palette that you can do your makeup with like super quickly. And then if this shade is too dark for like a base transition shade, you could definitely go in with this shade called Magical that has like a warmish, like a little bit of an orangey brown hint to it. It's a lot lighter. Then I'm going in with this orangey red shade. It has a little bit of a brown hint to it too, and it's called Potion. So I'm just gonna warm up this look with this color and just apply it more precisely into my crease. And it's not gonna add a lot, like a really noticeable difference, a little bit. You guys will see in a second. But I just wanna warm up my crease without committing to like a full on reddish tone. So I'm like halfway done with my eyes at this point. It's just like a super quick and easy look, but I'm going in with the shade Twinkle, and this is a dry brush, so I'm gonna apply it dry so you guys can see the pigmentation, but I am gonna wet it because I do want it to be very foiled. But you guys can see like it is definitely pigmented when you apply it with a dry brush, and if you apply it with your finger, it is going to be even more pigmented. So I just sprayed my brush with some Fix Plus. It gives it a super metallic foiled look, and it just looks so smooth on my eye. So that's the shadow wet. This is the shadow dry. You can see it's still pigmented, like, and looks really metallic dry too, but I just wanted to give you guys let you see the difference because I always wet my shadows. So in case you don't want to wet your brush or take an extra step with the eyeshadow, you guys can see that it still is super pigmented on its own. I just do this with all my shadows, but I always want to show you guys what it looks like dry too. So I'm just taking my blending brush with no additional product and just blending everything out. This is so simple because all the colors go together really nicely, like the neutral brown, the reddish tone, and this shadow shade, the lid color. They all blend together really quickly and easily, and then I'm just taking that same transition brush I used for that second shadow with no additional product either, just because it's a little bit more precise. So I just went in with a little bit of brown liner on my lower lash line. Then I'm going to go in with this shade Moony. I'm just going to apply this onto my brow bone. This is more of like a satin shade, which I really like because it doesn't show up like super shimmery, but it gives you a nice sheen. I'm also going to apply Moony into my inner corner, but I do want to go in with one more shimmer shade just to give a little bit more dimension. So I'm taking a little bit of this shade Sweet Dreams. It's like a champagne color, and my brush is wet. I'm just going to apply it in like the inner third of my eye. So it goes a little bit more gradient into that lid color. So you guys can see a tiny gradient effect from the inner corner to the outer part of my eye. Let me go ahead and deepen this up a little bit more just because this is super simple. I'm going to take that dark brown shade. This is the shade called Elfish. It is like an eggplant kind of brown color. Just going to apply it a little bit on the outer edge of my eye and then carry it into my crease. There we go. Now we have a little bit more drama. And also if you do a neutral look like this and you want it to be more daytime, you could just like do this exact same look without adding in this dark color at the end. And that way it's more like a lighter look. All right, so this eye look just went from day to night in about 5 seconds. So I'm just gonna take that same shade Elfish. I'm gonna apply it in the outer third of my lower lash line just to like kind of connect where it went with the outside of my eye. And I'm basically just using all the same shades on my bottom lashes. So taking the light transition shade, I'm going to apply that in the inner third and just blend it into the darker shade. And then I'm also taking my lid color and I'm just going to apply that more like closer to my waterline. So I'm just going to go ahead and put on some falsies real quick and then finish up with this review and get into the lip swatches too. Alright, so here is the completed eye look using this palette, and it's just like a very quick and easy eye look. I really love the formula of ColourPop, and this formula is especially consistent. Like I said, in the holiday collection, I found like some inconsistencies with that one, but this palette is just like the other ColourPop palettes that I have that are like very blendable, very easy to work with. The mattes are very creamy, so they're not powdery and they don't feel like just like super sheer when you go to apply them. They are pretty pigmented and they're going to show up pretty opaque. So it's just really quick and easy to apply. You don't have to blend forever and ever with this palette, which I really like. And especially the lighter transition shades, like when you layer in the darker matte shades, they all just go together really, really nicely. So I think it was just like smart planning on how all the colors in here work so well together. And you could do like very safe like neutral looks that take no time, but you could also just add in like a little bit of pop of color like on the lower lash line or like in the outer corner with some of the shades, or you can commit to like full color. You have a lot of variety in here, so I think it's like very friendly for everybody, like beginner to advanced with eyeshadows, because the formula is really great, really easy to blend out, but you also can get really creative with this palette too. I have a couple different eye looks that I want to film for Instagram tutorials in the next couple weeks with this palette because I just really like all the shades in here. It has like everything I need. So I definitely highly recommend the eyeshadow palette. I think if you purchase it, you're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to get bored with it easily because you can do like your very simple go-to looks, but you can also get a little bit creative, and you don't have to commit to like all color or all neutral with it. So I'm going to be using it a lot, especially like around the holidays. There's like a New Year's look that I want to do with it. So I'm just really into this palette. It's like my favorite color combination from ColourPop. So for $16, it is definitely worth it. You guys would really, really enjoy it if you like those colors. So next I'm going to move into the 3 lip colors. So I did get the bundle, and the bundle was $15 for all 3 colors. Otherwise, you can purchase them individually for $6 each. So with a bundle, you're just saving $3. I really just wanted 1 or 2 of the shades, but I just ended up getting the bundle so I could review it all, and it was also just like a few dollars more. So I'm just going to start off with the shade that is on my lips, and this one is in French, so I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. I've heard it pronounced like a million different ways. I think it's Rêve. It means dream in French. This is a gorgeous like orange, just like very, very vibrant orange shade. It's beautiful. It's so pigmented. These satin lips from ColourPop are really, really opaque, so it kind of goes on like a gloss, but it has that same like intense color payoff as if you had like a full lipstick on. But it is super pigmented on its own, and it stays in place, so if you're not eating and drinking, it's gonna wear for several hours and it's just gonna stay really, really opaque. Next we have the other ultra satin lip, and this is in the shade Dreamy. This is a little bit of a different color for me. It's more of a pink shade that has like a brown and kind of peachy hint to it. So it's almost like a cool-ish pink with a couple other shades in it. It has a little bit of a purple in it too. So this is more pink than I normally like to wear. So this is probably my least favorite shade of all 3, the one that I would wear the least. But if you're into like deeper pink shades, you would probably like this shade. I just like more deep nude colors. So that is the second Ultra Satin Lip. And you guys can see how they just go on like really opaque. You don't have to build them up, so you don't need to use a lot of product. And then honestly, my favorite shade from this trio is the lip gloss. So this is the Ultra Glossy Lip in the shade Moonchild. This is gorgeous. It's like a cool tone nude shade, and it just applies really opaque and pigmented. And it's also very hydrating on your lips. So this is a color that I'm going to be keeping in my purse like forever. I actually like pulled it out of my purse since I purchased it. And it's just a perfect nude shade to wear on top of a lipstick or on its own. It's still going to show up. So definitely, if you guys are curious about any of them, I would go with Moonchild. I think you would get the most wear out of this one. I know I'm going to get the most wear out of this shade out of all three because I'm always putting on a nude gloss. Even like before I do my makeup, if I'm just like going to the gym or just like running errands, I always wear a nude gloss, and it's super hydrating too, so it's like perfect for the winter, and it's gonna look good on top of like another matte lipstick as well if you want to get it like to be more pigmented and just like something a little bit more vibrant. Alright guys, so that's everything for this review of the ColourPop Kathleen Lights Dreamstreet and Dream Team collab. This is an awesome collab. Like, I paid $31 and I'm gonna get so many different looks out of this eyeshadow palette, and with the lip products, like you're just gonna get so much for the money, especially the eyeshadow palette. It's definitely awesome. ColourPop makes a gorgeous formula for the price, and just in general, it's like one of my favorite formulas. Like, out of all my high-end eyeshadows, like this is still one of my favorite formulas, and it's super affordable. So I definitely recommend just everything from this collab, but if you want like specifics, definitely the eyeshadow palette for sure. And then for lips, I would go with the Moonchild gloss. Those are definitely my favorites and what I'm going to be wearing like really consistently throughout probably the next year. They're just awesome products. So that is everything for today's video. Everything that I mentioned will be listed in my description box, as well as my 20K giveaway that is open for just a few more days. There are 2 winners and it's open internationally, so definitely check that out in my description box. And if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll talk to you guys soon in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.